Hey there, this is Rick. I hope you're having a great day. In today's video, I thought I'd have a little bit of a catch up and have a little bit of a drive around and just a bit of a natter and see what's what. So I'll see you on the other side of the splash screen. Now, I'm hoping that the audio is going to be okay. You're being filmed on the Hero 7 on wide angle, and the audio today is coming through a Rode Wireless Go that is pinned onto my the front of my jacket here. So hopefully the sound is going to be okay. I actually don't know how it's going to cope. Cope with the road noise, for example, or whether it's going to be able to pick out my voice from the ambient sound of the van. Hopefully it's reasonably good quality sound. If not, I'll see if I can fix it in editing. But today I thought I would just go out for a little drive. I'd fill up the tank and go for a little scoot around the countryside, because I haven't done it in a little while, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to have a little bit of a natter into the camera, as my van is nagging me to slow down a bit. There we go. A country road I don't think I've ever been down before. So this is as much a mystery tour for me as it is for you. So yeah, I decided I'd like to have a little drive. I've been going a bit stir crazy in the house. One of the disadvantages of working from home and living at home is it's almost like you need a reason to go out, and there's not that many reasons for me to leave the house. So I tend not to. It's much easier kind of not to do something than it is to do something. And I can get a little bit lazy and just not get out. But sometimes I just have to make a point of getting out, either going for a walk. In fact, I have actually been going for walks around my neighbourhood lately, and that was brought on by I actually fell ill over Christmas, and it was a rather nasty bug. Well, it wasn't a bug; it was something called vestibular neuritis, and ooh, let's just get past this van here. I came down a couple of weeks before Christmas with something called vestibular neuritis, which is an inner ear infection, and it's very similar to labyrinthitis, and it was just horrible. Basically, for about 3 weeks, the room didn't stop spinning. Think of the worst hangover you've ever had, and it lasting for 3 weeks. It was just rubbish, and it lasted over Christmas. My Christmas Day and Boxing Day was spent in a dim room, trying not to throw up. It was just awful, and it still took, after the worst of it was over in about 3 weeks, it still took up until about 2 weeks ago for it to fully go away. So I had it for almost like 2.5 months, and if I'm honest with you, it scared me, because after 2 weeks it just wasn't letting up in any way, shape or form. And by the time I got to week 3, I was getting really anxious that it was going to be permanent, because I joined up with some Facebook support groups for these vestibular issues, and there were people on there saying that they'd had it for 10 years, for 15 years, and the most important thing to note is, all the time I had this, I couldn't drive, and to be honest, it felt like I'd had a limb amputated. It was just rubbish. Now, I know I spend a lot of time at home when I'm, I work from home, I live at home, don't have many reasons to go out, and I kind of get a bit lazy and I tend not to go out. But it's okay, because I've always got the option to go out if I want it. The problem with this condition was I had no option to, if I just wanted to jump in the van and go for a drive, I couldn't do it. I genuinely could not drive. And that, when I started having thoughts that this was going to be a permanent thing, I was starting to think, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to sell the van, I'm going to be stuck at home forever, it really got me worried. And I did, have to take I was having some major anxiety issues over those weeks about this, because I was thinking, if this is permanent, this is life changing, But anyway, here I am, the other side of it. To cut a long story short, I'm fully recovered now. It's only been the last couple of weeks where I can say I've fully recovered, and I'm only fully recovered because of something I did called vestibular rehabilitation exercises, where you literally rely on the plasticity of your brain in order to retrain yourself to balance. And yeah, I had to do all these exercises, kept those up for well over a month, and it completely sorted me out. And here I am again, completely fine, no sign of the issues. But it's given me a much greater appreciation of my health. And I've had all these things that I wanted to do that I've been quite lazy about, and I just put them off, thinking, well, I'll do that in the near future. I'm going to do that. I'll do that one day. But what falling ill over Christmas has done is it's scared me into, or pushed me, or poked me into bringing those things forward, because it's made me really appreciate the abilities that I've got while I've got them. And sometimes you take your health for granted. But this, falling ill over those couple of months, it really gave me a kick up the backside to go out and actually start doing some of those things that I want to do. Now, one of the things I've been pondering on for a long time is going to Scotland and actually doing a tour in Scotland. Now, to be honest, I've had absolutely no excuse why I couldn't have done that. I was just being lazy. I've got the van for it, I've got the time available to do it. So there's absolutely no reason, apart from maybe waiting for a break in the weather. And we had some nice weather last year, so there's no reason why I couldn't have done it last year. But, like I say, I've now considered myself to have had a kick up the backside to actually start going out and doing stuff. So, my plan this year is to... I'm literally just waiting on a break in the weather. I mean, we're still in the middle of winter, so, which way am I going to go? Carry on this way. Going to a place called Denchworth. Never been there before. So yeah, the plan now is, as soon as the decent weather gets here, I'm going to jump in the van and I'm going to start going off places and actually get some camping done. Now, one of the excuses I had last year was a lot of my mates weren't available for camping last year, so there's this automatic assumption that when you're going to go camping, you kind of need to go with your mates, but there's absolutely no reason why I can't go camping on my own. That's a lovely little cottage. Look at that, and there. It's a nice little village. Oh right, okay. Road goes around there. Nice little village pub there. I have no idea where I am. But yeah, so that's my plan. Obviously, it's a reality in my head. Whether it becomes a reality in reality, we'll have to wait and see. This is going to be tight. Ooh. That's really tight. Ooh. There we go. Now I'm hoping, as a spin-off from actually forcing myself into taking some action this year, we might get a few videos out of it. That would be nice. I managed to get my hands on a new drone. It's only a little Mavic Mini, which is good because it's 249 grams and you don't have to register it with the Civil Aviation Authority. But I've already done my my Part A test, so I've got a certificate of competence, and I got a little membership card, and I've got insurance to fly as well. So I've always been a bit nervous about flying drones, not the actual drone flying itself, but you get people, whenever you go anywhere and fly a drone, you get people coming up to you all the time. And first of all, that's really off-putting because you need to concentrate on flying the drone. But secondly, you never know whether the people are going to get a bit shirty with you because of whatever. So at least having, some form of certificate and membership and insurance, it just kind of makes me feel a bit more confident about going out there and flying a drone, because that was always a bit of a thing in the back of my mind. Whenever I was flying a drone, you know, it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of nowhere, you still end up with somebody coming up to you saying, "Oh, are you allowed to do that here?" And there are so many places where you can't fly a drone, but there are lots of places where you can as well. But luckily, this Mavic Mini, the software that comes with it, it's actually got maps that show you exactly where you can and can't fly. So if you're in a no-fly zone, it just won't take off. You know, so if you happen to be near a small airport or a small airfield and you don't realise you're there, it'll tell you straight away where you are on the GPS thing. So that's good. But I'm thinking if I go to Scotland with it, hopefully I could get some really, really cracking footage. Oh, hello, look, the field's bleeding out over the road here. This is what I was saying about there's lots of water about everywhere. We've had 3 named storms hit the UK in as many weeks, and it's just been so wet. There's just so much water around at the moment. You know, I wouldn't even think about going camping now, because most campsites, I would imagine, I suppose the hard standings would be okay, but most campsites, if you're looking at grass pitches, they'd be unusable right now. Now, there's been some interesting things happening in the world lately, not to mention this coronavirus, which is just about getting a bit of a foothold in the UK at the moment. And in true British style, everybody's starting to get a bit panicky. It always makes me chuckle that whenever even the slightest sense of disruption lands on the British radar, us British people, we love to panic, and we we all hit the supermarkets and empty the shelves, and you know, sort of start shopping like it's the end of the world. I must admit, when I saw this kicking off in China, I've still got a little bit of a prepper mentality. You know, I always like to keep a month's supply of food stuck in the house, usually just a bunch of tins. To me, that's just common sense. You know, some people think I'm a bit daft for having a month's supply of food in the house, but I just don't understand. To me, that I don't understand why anybody would think that was daft. It's absolute common sense. I don't understand folks who have no food in the house, and whenever they're hungry, they actually have to go out and hit a supermarket or a shop. I've never understood that approach to life, but each to their own. But yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm not anticipating any issues. I'm certainly not worried about the virus. If it really kicks off and, you know, large swathes of the population start coming down with it, then I certainly am not alien. I'm certainly not opposed to the idea of just closing the front door and just waiting it out for a while. I'm certainly not going to go out of my way to try to catch it and contract it. But you know, if I still have to go out, then I probably will, unless it gets really bad. But obviously, it is going to be worrying for people who have elderly folks that they're perhaps looking after, or in their family. I mean, I've got a lot of elderly neighbours, which I think the best I can do. I mean, most of them have got my phone number, so you know, if they do, you know, start coming down with something or whatever, I'm not sure I would want to go in there and look after them if they've got it, but I may do that. You know, I'm not completely heartless, but if it's just a case of they can't get out to the shops or whatever, I've got a few extra tins. I'll just probably drop them around for them. You know, so hopefully I can make sure my neighbours are all right. But apart from that, there's not really a lot I can do. Just, you know, I'm staying vigilant. It always makes me chuckle, the expression panic buying. It's it's a bit of a is oxymoron the right expression? Let me put it this way: if I was panic buying, I went to a supermarket and I was panic buying, I would probably come out with a trolley full of like blocks of lard, perhaps a lampshade, maybe a colour changing light bulb, and a few pot plants. Yeah, that expression, panic buying, it just always makes me chuckle. This is really wet. I mean, it was nice and sunny when I set out. When I first headed off this morning in the van, I needed to fill up with fuel. And I mean, you can see how high the drainage channels are here. So I hope I don't encounter any flooding. I think I'm doing the right thing by starting to head for home. This is quite fast flowing water, actually. Oh, good grief, look. This is a drainage channel at the side of the road. This is really full. Yeah, I know we've had a lot of like really wet weather, and we've had, I think I mentioned it earlier, we've had 3 named storms within 3 weeks of each other. But we get the storms, or the remnants of the storms that you guys in America have. They work their way across the Atlantic, and then we get the tail end of them. Right, I'm not sure where I am. That's what I love about these mystery tours. I just let the road take me to where it's got to go. Hungerford, Lambourne's that way. We're going to Hungerford and then going to turn off and come back via Aldbourne, I think. So yeah, I'm kind of hopeful that, like I say, I've been prompted into taking a bit of action this year and doing a bit of stuff this year that I just had a really lazy year last year, but I'm really going to nip that in the bud. And like I say, I kind of got scared into doing that when I fell ill over Christmas, and I'm treating it like it was a blessing in disguise. It kind of gave me that wake up call that I needed to prompt me into actually getting out there and living life a little bit more. I'd fallen into a very lazy and complacent place, and so I kind of thank that illness for opening my eyes to, I really need to get out there, start living carpe diem, treating each year as, my attitude is I'm going to start now from here forward treating and living each year, each summer, because basically summertime is my time. I'm very much solar powered. Summertime is when I do most stuff. So from here forward, my intention is to treat each summer as if it was my last. And I know that might sound a bit morbid, but it's a real motivator. When I had this vestibular neuritis and I started thinking that I wasn't going to be able to drive anymore, that really opened my eyes to, probably at some point in the future, well, there's no probably about it, at some point in my life, at the future, I will have to give up driving, at which point my freedoms are going to feel pretty curtailed. I'm not ready for that yet, but I need to get out there and start living carpe diem, start living the day, seizing the day. So like I say, it's just a question at the moment of waiting on a break in the weather. And hopefully, I mean, we're just very early March now, hopefully that break in the weather is not going to be far away. Whoa, the river is so high. Oh, I hope this road isn't flooded anywhere on the way back. In fact, I wonder if it's worth having a little drive past Ramsbury just to see if the water is up, because the river runs through Ramsbury. There you go. Oh my goodness, there's a massive coach coming. How is this going to work? I think I'm going to have to pull in here. This is tight. There we go. That's sorted. Let's take a quick little pass through Ramsbury on the way home, just to see how the water's doing. I can see these fields out here are pretty waterlogged. Yeah, that water level's up really high. Wow, I've never seen it that high before. These are just drainage ditches, but they're completely full. But they're obviously doing their job. This field is completely waterlogged. See the water there. I remember years ago when I was still a teenager, there was a field locally that got waterlogged, and then we had a real deep freeze, and it turned into this fantastic ice rink. And I was into ice skating back then. In fact, I spent more time at the ice rink than I did in college, but it's one of the reasons I was asked to leave. But I went to this field with my ice boots, and I spent day after day there. It was just so cool because you didn't have to pay any entrance fee, and I spent my days just skating around the field. And there's something really freeing about being in a field. I mean, in an ice rink you got a barrier all the way around. In a field I could almost go anywhere. It was really quite bizarre, but it was just like having this massive ice rink to yourself. So it was so cool. Yep, that is full. Shall we step outside? Shall we? Let's put the little lapel mic on here. It might get a little bit wet, but let me unplug you because you're plugged into the charger. Keys are in my pocket, I think. Yeah. Right. Let's go and have a quick look. Won't be a long look. Yeah, that is full. It's seriously full. I've never seen it this full before. Wow. Oh yeah. Some serious water here. The ducks asleep there. That. Whole bank full of weeping willows. Well, there we go. We can say we've been out for a walk, if only for about a minute. I'm going to have to take this jacket off before I get in my seat now, otherwise I'm going to get all wet. Been recording for 1 hour and 25 minutes already. There we go. So there we go, that's just a little catch up from Rick World. I'm sorry I haven't really talked about a lot, to be honest, and I've just nattered on about not a lot, but hopefully, you know, if you got this far, it was a bit of company for you, and just like I say, a little catch up, let you know what's happening in Rick World. This year, I hope this year is going to be different to the last few years where I've had all these ideas to do stuff and never actually saw them through. I feel at the moment this year is different because I had that scare at the beginning of the year, and it's really felt like a shove or a poke or a kick up the bum or whatever you want to call it, to actually go out there and start doing stuff rather than just being lazy and staying at home and finding reasons not to do stuff. I think my theme for this year is going to be Carpe Diem, seize the day, and just make stuff happen and just get out there and start living life again, because at the moment I'm just not living life. I'm just existing, ticking along. I'm far too comfortable, if you see what I mean. I'm complacent and comfortable, and I think just recognizing that is going to help. It's going to go a long way to helping me break that. We'll see. As I say, in my goals this year, if I can do the Scotland trip, I think I will have definitely achieved something, and hopefully get some decent videos out of it as well. But as soon as the weather comes and breaks, have every intention to just start getting out there and just almost like forcing myself to kind of live a little. But we'll see. But like I say, I have high hopes for this year, and hopefully, you know, the channel will be back up and running, and with regular video uploads, and hopefully something of interest for whoever's interested. So until then, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great rest of the day. Do feel free to leave comments below, in the notes below, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.